Welcome to Real Estate Real World, where we talk to the movers, shakers, and leaders that are getting it done right now in the real estate industry and beyond. Your host, Marguerite Crespillo, started this podcast simply dedicated to call people about what's really happening in this crazy roller coaster ride of real estate. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and stay up to date on the newest stuff by adding yourself to the list at www.realestaterealworld.com. Now your host, Marguerite Crespillo.
Hello, everybody. It's that time again. Time for another fabulous episode of Real Estate Real World. And today we have a special guest, a young man. I guess he's not that young. He's young to me, but a young man that I met about a year or so ago when he had just joined EXP. And I've been really intrigued in watching him grow and how inspiring he is and what he's doing to take care of not only himself, but his beautiful family, his gorgeous wife, and their two little boys. And what he's really done with his real estate career. He's taken a lot of big risks, and I love people that take risks. So let me tell you a little bit about him. I'm going to read his brief bio here. It says Scott Moeller's journey is a testament to unwavering dedication, exceptional leadership, and a drive for excellence. He's a proud USCG veteran. He fearlessly served as a cutter, backup rescue swimmer, tactical team member, and fireman, saving lives and ensuring safety on the open seas. Thank you for your service, my friend Scott. Transitioning from the military, Scott's leadership prowess translated seamlessly into a thriving sales career. His remarkable ability to inspire and run teams led to numerous awards and achievements. With a bachelor's degree in management and organizational leadership, Scott's commitment to growth is evident. A devoted husband to Caitlin and father to two boys, he finds balance in family adventures like fishing and boating. Scott's reputation as a top-tier realtor and negotiator speaks volumes. His market insights, attention to detail, and strategic approach have earned him a track record of success marked by awards and accolades. Scott Moeller's journey is a testament to service, leadership, and achievement, leaving an enduring impact on those he serves and inspires. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome, Scott.
Hey, Marguerite. Thank you so much.
That's quite a bio, my friend.
I know. I've never heard anybody read it before.
A lot of big words, good words in there. I like it. Thank you.
My wife must have wrote that.
She must have. Yeah, I was going to say, who wrote it for you? First of all, thank you for your service. I'm always inspired by people who give back to our country and allow us the freedoms that we have today. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, they took care of me.
And I love watching you on social media because most of your social media is your boys fishing, and they're the cutest thing ever. I think that fish yesterday was bigger than your son almost.
I know. That was his first catfish.
Was it really?
He's been wanting to catch one of those for the last 3-4 months. Every day he wakes up, Dad, we got to catch a catfish. And I'm like, okay, I got to figure that out. So we did it finally.
Bait to catfish.
We use like a little fly lure.
Oh.
So I think catfish eat anything.
Yeah.
I've heard they eat dog food. So you just throw anything in the water.
Yeah. It's funny because I have not done a whole lot of fishing in my life, but I have boys. And so a couple of weeks ago, we went to the farmer's market, and there's a guy there that goes and gets fresh fish every week and brings them to the farmer's market. And so he brought back this like big halibut. Halibut was like, I'm probably exaggerating, but I don't think so. It was pretty big because it fit in the bottom of my sink. And I called my sons. I'm like, hey, I have no idea how to clean a fish. So if you guys want dinner, somebody's got to come clean this thing.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was going to go buy fillets, and no, he pulls out like the whole fish. I was like, I'm not sure what to do.
Yeah, you got the good stuff.
It was good. It was fantastic. It was fantastic fish. But tell us, how did you end up getting into real estate? Especially considering your background, what got you into real estate?
I always have this, if I'm going to be honest, I always have this itch to do something new. I'm never satisfied.
I've seen that.
Like a gift and a curse. Yeah. And so I was in the corporate world and I was running a sales organization, and I just always want to take on new challenges, and I want to be number one. And in the corporate world, that's hard to do because you're limited by your boss. And my boss was a scaredy cat. He was afraid. He wanted to skate under the radar. And me, like I want to be the loudest in the room. And so we just didn't get along at all. And so I was like, man, I need to do something new. And I didn't really, the job was good. So I got good pay, good money, good benefits, and I had the freedom to do what I wanted to do. I also took out our largest clients out golfing and to football games. And so it was a great career. And it was a blessing that one day I walk into work and I got fired because I just was challenging my boss so much. He got sick of it and he fired me. So it was a surprise to me. And I thought, this is an opportunity to really do something that I want to do. And my sister was in real estate. Kara, she had just got into real estate at the time. And she was like, hey, this is a great opportunity. Just get your license and you can have it while you figure it out. So that's how I got into real estate. Is I got fired from a job that I enjoyed and I loved, but was limited and unhappy with the money I was making. And really the money wasn't as big of a deal as me wanting to be number one and wanting to grow and wanting to get all the awards and all that stuff. So, yeah, thank you, Keith. If you're watching this, thank you for firing me and starting my real estate career.
You know that you say that because I've frequently made the comment that I got fired from more jobs than I was hired from prior to getting into real estate. Because I wasn't really
Yeah.
employable, right? Like I've always been very entrepreneurial from a very young age, that just working in that environment where you had to clock in and clock out, which is great for many people, but just wasn't great for me. So I wasn't suitable for being in that like state job or corporate. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it just wasn't for me.
Yeah. And so I got my license pretty quickly within 2-3 months in California. And I was interviewing for other jobs and I got job offers for 6 figures, but doing the same thing, showing up to an office 9 to 5. And I got sick to my stomach. I was like, I don't even want to do that again. I don't even want to talk to another boss again. I don't want to be limited. And I turned down several job opportunities. And it took me 6-7 months to sell my first house. My savings account was dwindling. And I was just like, I'm going to figure this out and make it work. So that's what we did.
And so how have things changed for you since, how long have you been in real estate now?
We're going on our 6th year.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so tell me what led you to actually joining EXP. How did that come about?
Gail and Val, man, those
They're
two
beasts.
chicks. EXP had been after me for 2 years, and I just had this perception of them that was false. And I just ignored them. But I always go out to breakfast and coffees because I like to network and I like free food. So I'd always say yes, no matter who it was. And EXP, how we are, this gentleman, his name was Matthew, and he was an awesome agent and he really provided me a lot of value. And he stuck around for a year and a half and really was a support system for me. And we decided to make the switch where he sent us a spreadsheet of all the money we missed out on from running a team, from the stocks and the revenue share. And it was like, I want to say like $420,000 over the span of 2.5 years of running a real estate team, 5 to 10 agents. And I looked at that spreadsheet and I said, is this for real? And it really made me look at it because for doing the exact same thing from selling real estate and running a team, I can make an extra $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 in stocks and revenue share. And the answer was yes, that was true. So it really made us look at it. And so we had a phone call with him and said, okay, we're going to join. And then all of a sudden I don't know what it is with EXP. It's like every agent knew that we were going to make a switch in the area and we were just getting phone calls and emails. And so Gail and Val were some of those phone calls, and we had canceled 2 dinners with them because we had already made up our mind. And they just said, come to dinner with us. Gosh darn it. That's what they said to us in other words. And so we're like, okay, we'll go to dinner. And we went to dinner with those 2 lovely ladies, and I fell in love with them. and they sold me right there at the dinner table, and we had a blast, and I just wanted to be a part of what they were doing, what they had done, and what they were going to be doing. And so that's why I came to EXP initially.
Gail for sure is a beast. Her and I are in this calling group, and she has set like 30 appointments in the last 10 days. She's insane. And she calls or texts me every day. She get on the call, get on the call, get on the call. I'm like, I'm on. But she's fantastic. So I'm super grateful that you're here and you're part of our tribe and our group. It's been fun. How has it changed things for you? Because now even you have packed up and moved your family to Tennessee, right? You're in Columbia,
Mhm.
Tennessee, which ironically is where my business partner Mitzi is also.
We just wanted to, one, we got the itch again, but we didn't want to leave real estate because we love it. So real estate is going to be with us for the rest of our lives, but we got an itch to do something different and start somewhere new. And we also wanted to be in an environment that was family oriented and more along with our values. And so we did a lot of research, and Tennessee seemed to be that place. But we've been here 2 weeks, and it's been a wonderful and I'm super excited to start attracting agents and networking and selling real estate out here as well. Yeah, that's what got us out here in the first place.
And the beauty of EXP is that you have the ability to work pretty much anywhere, right?
I know. Yeah, people are like, "Are you going to stay with EXP?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm never leaving
Yeah.
EXP ever.
Yeah.
I love this brokerage. It's the best brokerage ever."
What are
And I was going to say, I didn't even I, I joined EXP because of Gail and Val, but I didn't even know why. I didn't You don't even know what EXP has to offer until you join. And I'm glad I didn't join with Matthew, even though that would have been fine, but it does matter who you join with. And just including yourself, Marguerite, like just been, you answer your phone every time I call you, every text message, every email, and all of the guys talk about you all the time, how you're just a wonderful resource for everybody. And just personally, even you invite us to your house all the time, and anything that we need. And we're probably asking the same questions for the last year and a half, but
it's
you
okay.
just with a smile give us everything that we need. And I'm just like, man, I'm so thankful for Marguerite. And yeah, I didn't even know really why I joined until I really joined and got into you and Gail and Val and what you guys have to offer for us, and the stocks and the revenue share. And then I'm a certified mentor with EXP, and I get paid off of that, and I get to launch a coaching business, which I get paid, and I love to coach and talk, and I love real estate and growing. So EXP just breeds all of this, and it's just never ending. And I don't think I would ever get bored of EXP or selling real estate ever in my entire life. And that's something to say for me.
Tell us a little bit about your coaching business. What are you doing with that? What does that look like for you?
Yes, I've always loved coaching and mentorship. And so I was like, you know what? I understand sales and I understand leadership. I just need to get into real estate a little bit more. And so I'm on my 6th year, and I have wonderful mentors myself. And so I was like, I'm going to start doing this. We help agents get into that 100K mark. So if you're struggling to make 6 figures or get into that 100K mark, that we can guarantee with what we offer that you're going to make 100K. And it's just with working your sphere properly, right? And that's your mailers, email campaigns, picking up the phone and making phone calls and text messages. And so we just have this protocol that if you follow and you have 250 to 300 people in your database, that you're guaranteed to make 100K at least. And so that's what we offer in a nutshell.
So also I think you teach, because I know we did when you teach like doing events and stuff too, right? Like we had that was so much fun. We did a chocolate and charcuterie class.
Yeah.
You hired a friend of yours to come in and teach us how to make some cool chocolate and charcuterie. It was a
Yes.
blast. We had a great time. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
So how are you adjusting out there in how is it different in Tennessee? You've only been there a couple weeks. I always tell people real estate is real estate pretty much wherever you go. There's little things that are different in certain communities, but I'm just curious to go from, you don't know anybody there, right? Like you what dropped in the middle of nowhere. Did you know anybody there?
It's funny, like we were coming out here to look at homes and to visit, and we were putting all that on our social media, my wife and we probably got 3 to 5 buyers from California who are moving out in the next 6 months. And they were hammering us with questions. And we have a lot of people still coming from California that we'll connect with and plug into. The first day we moved in here, Marguerite, we had 4 neighbors come by and drop off corn and tomatoes,
Oh,
and they had been here 20, 30 years, and they all went to elementary school together. So it's a real small town feel, and it's like a movie. And my wife and I were just laughing, and our neighbors would walk right in the house and they acted like they knew us for the last 10 years.
how much land do
It's
you
that
guys
southern
have?
charm. We have a few acres out here, but we're surrounded by each of our neighbors has at least 10, 20
Oh,
acres.
wow.
Yeah. And they have cows and mules and horses
I
and
bet
all
your
that good
boys are
stuff.
loving
So,
it.
oh yeah, they're just running around naked outside all day long, just loving it.
Going
Yeah.
crazy. So what are your goals that you have out there? Have you thought about what does your business look like a year from now?
Yeah, good question. So my wife and I were like, we really want to make our own food as much as possible. All of our veggies, all of our potatoes, and then even our meat. We want to get involved in the community. There's a very big homestead community out here, and we love people and love being social and love going out, but we also love the homestead life. So we're not too far from town, but we have the ability to grow our own food and have cattle and all those things. So that's really our plan, is to get involved in local farmers markets in the homestead community and grow our own food and sell microgreens and sell milk, because we're going to get some milk cows. And so we're really just going to get involved in that community and build relationships that way. And then another way is church, because we love church. And so we're volunteering at church and getting involved there. And we did that from day one. And we've already met a lot of good people out here. I know it's like a crazy strategy, but we just wanted to pick things, a couple things that we love to do that we wouldn't get sick of. And we're like, we love gardening and growing our own food, and we love people and we love church. So let's just dive into those things, because we can be authentic and genuine. We can build relationships easier. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to come from a community standpoint and a service standpoint and just be all over our community as much as we can.
I spent the last probably 3 weekends canning, I think close to 100 jars of tomato sauce. My tomatoes got out of control this year. In fact, I still have a ton more I'm going to have to probably can this weekend too. And it's funny because I've really found how much I enjoy that. Growing up, my mom always canned, more out of back then necessity, because that just raising kids. She was a single mom. So canned food made food last longer. But
Yeah.
and as a kid, I remember thinking, my mom would stand in the kitchen in 100 degrees, sweating and canning for hours and hours. Now, luckily, I don't have to sweat in the kitchen. I have air conditioning, so
Yeah.
the but canning tomato sauce, I love it because it's so welcome to be able to give away handmade gifts and things that you make, and I love that so much. I really enjoy it, and it's almost it was a lost art, but I think it's starting to come back. Like I'm in several Facebook groups that are like addicted to canning and dehydrating and all that fun stuff. And it's great. The only thing I wish I had, and I might have to do it next year, is I want a basement. Do you have a basement in your house?
No, but that for like wine.
So in the old days, now I'm dating myself. In the old days, everybody had like fruit cellars, or they had cellars where they would put all of their canned goods and all that, because it
Yeah.
naturally the earth keeps it even temperature.
Cool.
And so
Hmm.
even like my husband, when I met him, his parents were quite a bit older, and they used to make wine too, but they had like shelves lined with all their canned goods. And so now I want like a fruit cellar. My
I know.
husband's
And I
like,
saw that you got grapes too.
are you crazy? I'm like, I know
Yeah.
for 30 years I've wanted to have grapes. Is that funny? And so I finally took this pot and I set it over on my side yard where I knew it was going to get the sprinklers every day.
Hmm.
Hallelujah, we have grapes.
Those grapes looked good
They're
too.
good. And so I took a whole bunch of them and I started. This isn't anything to do with real estate, but it's fun. I've started, my husband loves smoothies. So he makes smoothies almost every day. So I've had an
Hmm.
abundance of, I had tons of beets, I had tons of grapes, I had tons of cucumbers this year. We're talking tons of cucumbers. And so I literally took them all and I juiced them all. The grapes, I just froze them. But the beets and the celery, the cucumber, I juiced it all and then I threw it in ice cube trays and then threw them in bags.
Mm.
So now I have beet juice and cucumber juice and all kinds of stuff that can go in smoothies or make water or whatever. I was going with,
That would be a fun event if you taught everyone how to can.
I thought about that because I've had so many people ask me, and it's not that I just do water bath canning. It's not very complicated, but literally people, I can't, you're absolutely right. I should do an event because a lot of people have asked me what it takes to can, and it's not complicated. It's just time consuming is all, but I
Yeah.
really enjoy it. Like I'm in there, I got the music cranking and my kitchen is a disaster zone. It looks like it was hit by a tsunami. And I'm like, how did I get tomato sauce on the bottom drawer of my
Yeah.
but canning is a little bit of a lost art, but I love to make like jams and sauces and stuff like that. And last year, dehydrating, I made smoked jalapeno garlic salts. So good. So I'm making that again this weekend. So anyway, if you want some, raise your hand, holler at me. I'll send you some of my sauce or salts or anything. Your wife, has she learned, is she doing canning or have you guys learned to can at all yet?
She knows how to. Her sisters do, and her mom does. But she's been really into sourdough lately, and she's had so many girls reach out to her to do sourdough.
Yeah.
And so she's like teaching. She like built a little video and instruction sheet on how to do sourdough, and so girls are doing it, and they're calling her because it's like a little bit of an art
It's an
to get
art. I
started
know
on.
how to make. I have sourdough starter in my refrigerator, and I've made sourdough many times. But it's most definitely an art. Like last night, I actually made just some Italian bread, which it does not require sourdough. It's regular yeast. And oh my, it like took me like an hour. Most of that time was for it to rise, and it was so good. My husband's like in there eating an entire loaf of bread. I think that more and more, a lot of that stuff is coming back and it's really enjoyable. And I'm grateful for it. It's a lost art. And to be able to, like, food, it solves a lot of problems, right? Like, people love to gather and eat together and break breads, so to speak. And I'll have to hop on some of her sourdough bread classes because if I was making sourdough every day, I'd weigh 400 pounds.
I know. As soon as the loaf comes out, it's gone. It's so
I
good.
love sourdough bread. Like it is something else. So, what
Yeah.
is it you're liking to do? Are you doing all the manual labor in the garden? Is that you?
Yeah, I'm making a fence right now because we have a deer problem. I'm putting in a garden fence, and I was like, you know what? I can do this with a shovel. And I'm 37, but I still have a 25-year-old brain, and it's hot. It doesn't really get above 90 out here, but it's humid. And I'm out there digging on my second hole, and I was just dying. And I had to come in, like I was done for the rest of the night. So I have to go get an auger. But yeah, I'm building the fence, and we're building a chicken coop. We just got 20 chickens. They'll start in a couple months here. We'll have 20 eggs a day, which will be awesome.
So, tell your
So
wife
yeah,
you're
doing all
the.
the labor.
I saw this thing where you can actually take the eggs and you can preserve them, right?
I don't know,
I'll have to
like
find it.
pickle.
I'll send it to you. You can actually take them and put them in like a jar so that because chickens don't typically lay eggs year round. So you can actually preserve them in these big jars and it preserves them just like they were. It's fascinating. I'll find you a link and I'll send it to you.
Yeah. I know they last, like, you can have them on the counter for a couple weeks and they're totally fine before you put
Exactly.
them in the
I know people
fridge.
are
Yeah.
weird about eggs, but they can
Yeah.
if you don't wash them, so to speak, they can sit longer. Yes.
Yep.
As we wrap up today, because we're getting all off track on farming and gardening, which is my favorite subject anyway, so I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
How do people I guess I'm curious of the thought process because you actually became a consumer having to go to another state and buy. Did that teach you anything that you are utilizing in your real estate business?
Wow, very good question. It's funny because it did. And I would say a few things. There were several things actually. One is that it made me, I do this anyway, but it's a hard connection if that makes any sense. But it made me realize how important it is to make what's important to your clients important to you, because it's a big deal and it's stressful, and they may have different personalities, come from different backgrounds, but it's important to them. And you better make that important to you also. It's really going to reflect in how you speak to them and how you handle the escrow and all their inquiries and things like that. And moving across country with 2 kids and my wife and going somewhere new and just being where we are in our stage of life was a little stressful. And I was like, oh, this is exactly what people are going through. And we've bought several homes before, but it's just different investment properties or a different time in life. And yeah, it made me really want to put myself in my client's shoes and make important to me what's important to them. Another thing was is when it took 4 days to drive here with a U-Haul, 2 kids. And so when we got here, the house was clean. It was ready to go, professionally cleaned. And we had food in the fridge and like a party platter plate for hosting.
Wow.
And we had alcoholic beverages and cold water. And we were just, it was like we were dying for the last 4 days. We were eating McDonald's and driving for 12 hours a day. So when we got home, it just felt so good that the listing agent that we worked with just thought about that for us, because we would have came home at 7 o'clock at night to our home with no food and on the fast food diet, and really making your gifts and things like that something that's functional
I love that.
to the clients when they move in. And so we do this anyway. Like when you're moving, you need boxes and you need tape and you need scissors and you need toilet paper and you need paper towels and cleaning supplies, because you're like, that's really when you're transitioning from home to home, that's like
For
what you're
sure.
doing.
We have our moving day kits, yeah, that we do that with.
Yeah. And so we just started sending boxes to our clients, and they text me and they're like, we love your boxes. And it has like my face on it and my name and stuff. And it just helps out so much just to have things that help you during your move. So there was a few other, that's a really good question. There was a few other things, but I would say those are the two biggest ones. Make your gifts functional, and even if you don't connect with your clients, you better understand what's important to them and make it important to yourself.
That's great advice, because I've always said, I said every agent and lender should have to buy or sell a house every couple of years just so they can appreciate what our clients go through. Because a couple of
Yeah.
years ago, I bought a house with my son in San Diego, and I was like, is this really what our client, like the loan process? And I was like, is this what our
Yeah.
clients go through? This was a nightmare. And I had a good lender,
Yeah.
but I'm self employed. So I had a complicated financial situation. But just the whole experience of, I bought a house in San Diego out of my area and out of my market. And at first I was like, oh, I'll do it myself. And then I was like, I probably should actually find a good agent in that area. Even though I know what I'm doing, I 100% relied on him to handle things and take care of things and let me know areas and things that were specific to the market. So I think that's a great
Mm-hmm.
lesson for all of us as agents, is we got to go through the process every once in a while so we can appreciate what our clients went through, because oh my goodness, it was insane.
Yeah. We become very task oriented and we just want to get things done, and we forget about how human this is. And it's a big deal. It's a big deal to the majority of people. Yeah. So we were in escrow twice out here. And the first time I was like, I'm going to represent myself and use some of that money to go towards closing costs and stuff. And the first agent didn't give a rat's ass about me. He didn't care about me at all. And it was difficult. And then the house that we have now, the agent she was a wonderful human being, and she did everything. And the builder, even because this is a new build, and he still comes over and fixes little stuff like light fixtures. And so he came over to fix a light fixture, and he noticed I haven't bought a lawnmower yet because we have a few acres and I got to get a $3,000 lawnmower, and I just haven't wrapped my head around that yet. And so he comes over to fix the light. And then a half hour later, there's 4 guys pulling up in trucks with lawnmowers and weed whackers. And all of a sudden they're mowing our lawn for free. He just decided, he saw it and decided to do that. And it just felt really good when you're doing a lot and you have a lot on your plate and things like that are being taken care of. And so it was night and day with the realtor that we had.
I think that's great wisdom for all the agents out there, right? Like, love is in the details. Pay attention to the little things that mean something is, I think, probably some of the best advice that I've been given and have given back over the years. Pay attention to those details.
Yeah, I know. One more thing is we belong to all these Facebook groups for realtors, and people are always, the question in there in those forums are, how much should I spend on a client gift? I usually do $100. And I'm just like, that is the last question. That's a question you shouldn't be asking at all, period. Like, you should be asking what we're talking about right here. Like, what do they need? How can I make their move easier? What's going to be functional for them and their lifestyle, their family, and something that's just going to take a load off, because it's buying a house and moving is, I think, the top 3 most stressful things, along with having a baby, getting married, and a job career change.
Yeah, right up there with death and divorce on the stress meter, I tell people.
Yes, exactly.
Scott, it has been such a joy to get to talk to you. You're one of my favorite people. I love hanging out with you. I'm sad I didn't get to see you before you went to Tennessee, but you'll be back to visit, huh?
We'll be back. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're super grateful for your time. And thank you, everybody out there in podcast land, Real Estate Real World. Be sure to follow us on all the social platforms. And if you love us, give us a quick review. It helps push us up in the rankings. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Go out and make it a great day.
Thank you for joining us today on Real Estate Real World, where we talk with masters and leaders in real estate and beyond on how we can raise the bar in our industry. Please subscribe over on iTunes. And while you're there, be sure to give us a review. Your reviews encourage us and help others find our podcast. For show notes and hot topics on what's going on right now in our real estate industry, hop on over to www.realestaterealworld.com and add your name to our email. Thanks again for listening. And go out there, be a part of the elite masterclass in raising the bar on the real estate industry.